and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am super excited because today I am finally going to walk you through my Immortal game that I played in Germany at the Grenke Chess Open just a few weeks ago. A lot of people have already made videos on this game, and it's finally my turn to tell you all about what was going through my head and more. Quick context, this was round 4, I had 1 point out of 3 and I was playing with the black pieces against a 1729 rated opponent. For those who don't know, Grenke consists of 9 rounds, but is only 5 days long, which means that on the first day we play 1 round and that is followed by 4 days straight of double rounds with a time format of 90 minutes with a 30-second increment. Yes, it is a very crazy schedule, and realistically you cannot really prepare. Maybe you can for the morning rounds, but that would involve sacrificing a lot of the sleep that you really need to keep up with this crazy schedule. However, for this round, I did just that. I stayed up late just to check what my opponent usually played for and tried to prepare even a little bit, because I really wanted to get some more wins. I quickly found out that my opponent played d4 and he liked to play the Catalan setup pretty much against anything. Now, I don't have any particular weapon against the Catalan, but I did happen to browse the Queen's Gambit Accepted course that I've been working on for a few months now, and there is one little segment in there on how to play against the Catalan. It doesn't differ all that much from common QG8 lines, except for a few details here and there, which I'm going to tell you all about right now. So let's get into the game. d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, and c4 as expected, and obviously this is where I take on c4. Opponent continues with g3 as usual, and then I play knight to c6. Important to mention, though it might seem a bit irrelevant, this was prep. It seems like a very natural move, but in fact in Queen's Gambit Accepted, I usually delay the development of the knight on b8 because I want to play c5 first. And if I hadn't looked at this the night prior, I would have probably played c5 in this position, which would have changed the whole dynamic quite a bit. But instead I went with knight to c6, which is the recommended move in the course. Knight to c3, and perhaps another key moment right here. We want to obviously open up the dark square bishop, castle short, and go from there. A common move here would be e5, which makes a lot of sense. We're opening up the bishop, and we are obviously also challenging the center. Now, what I saw here was knight takes e5, knight takes c5, pawn takes e5, queen takes queen, knight takes queen, and then we don't really have to continue down this line because I didn't go for it for one reason and one reason only, and that was that I did not want to trade queens. In fact, in the whole tournament, out of all the 9 rounds, I didn't trade queens in a single one of them. Most of my games didn't even reach the endgame phase, really. They all ended up being crazy, imbalanced, fun middle game situations. And I will definitely be doing some more recaps of some of the games, so you will understand, in case you did not follow these games live. So really, this was the reason why I didn't go for e5, and instead I went for e6, which might seem a bit more passive or less ambitious, but is obviously very natural, very normal, very common in a lot of QGA lines as well. And by the way, I know that this is not QGA, this is a Catalan, but I was mostly inspired by Queen's Gambit Accepted lines regarding development and so on. Bishop g2, bishop e7, castles, castles, and bishop to f4. This is perhaps the one moment in the whole game that I am not very proud of. Here I played a very ugly move, rook to e8. I was actually fully aware that this was not a good move when I played it, but I still went for it because for some reason I could not convince myself to play the best move, which is the first move that I looked at, and that is knight to e5. This is obviously the best move in this position. You are putting the knight in the center, you are attacking the bishop. I mean, what more do you need, really? Just such a natural and such a no-brainer. But for some reason, I didn't go for it. I cannot explain why. Maybe I didn't like the way this looked, Or maybe I think I was a bit concerned about e4 at some point, which doesn't make sense at all, obviously, because in this line you have the bishop pair, this king is exposed. I mean, I can't really explain why. And I guess this is a good moment to mention that I am not too upset about these kinds of moments because I am fully aware that I have absolutely no experience or barely any experience when it comes to classical chess. This is my second classical tournament ever, and going into the tournament, obviously, I really wanted to gain rating and play some nice games and win some nice games. But mostly, I wanted to gain more confidence. I wanted to enjoy the games. And I really wanted to be able to run sort of like a full-on diagnosis on my chess. And the best way to do that is by playing longer time controls, ideally in this sort of tournament, more serious, more dedicated environment. It's just the best way to understand what needs immediate attention when it comes to chess improvement. And for me, I have a lot of information now. I know that there were a lot of moments where I miscalculated. There were a lot of moments where I misevaluated positions, and also where I wasn't able to come up with the correct plan, which I guess stems from that lack of ability to correctly evaluate certain positions. Look at the whole board and understand what are the important details and what do those details tell me about what I should be playing for in the next few moves, short term, long term. That is absolutely fine. It's just I'm very glad that now I know what I need to work on, and I'm going to get to work on that ASAP. Anyways, here I played rook e8 as I said, and then we have a very weird move from my opponent, which is knight to b5. Now, when I first saw this move, my first instinct was like, uh-oh, can I defend c7? I mean, that's the whole point, right? He's putting pressure on c7 over here. But I guess that really forced me to play the move that I should have played a move ago, which is knight to d5. I'm attacking the bishop and I am protecting the pawn on c7. In general, my opponent played this game really, really fast, but here he made this move. Knight to e5. He played this move pretty fast, and I understood that he was going for some sort of tricks because of this very strong bishop on the diagonal. Potentially, I even calculated a little bit, and I saw that maybe at the end of some of those lines there was some forking of my rooks, and I wasn't really concerned, but I did spend 20 minutes, and I calculated, and I calculated, and I calculated. I guess the most intuitive to look at first of all is this straight over here. I guess takes like this or like this. And then at this point you can just kick out this knight, perhaps with c6. And the knight will go back. And I mean, I have a really nice center here. I am not entirely sure how I'm going to develop this bishop yet. But surely this seems quite good for me. Maybe during the game I wouldn't have evaluated at -1. But this is definitely absolutely fine. However, I went for a more ambitious idea, and this is where I took this bishop on f4. This is classified as a mistake. I guess that it's slightly worse in terms of engine evaluation than taking on e5, but here I had calculated everything that happened in the next following moves, starting with knight takes knight, pawn takes, and bishop takes. And obviously this is a fork, which I had foreseen, and in this position I played the best move, which is bishop to d7. Even after this bishop takes my rook, there's two white pieces hanging and only one black piece hanging. I realized that even though I lost this rook, I have two very, very strong bishops, which are going to decide the game, and that is exactly what happened. Now, before taking this bishop, I decided to start with knight to h3. And I did that because I knew that this knight was going to be taken either way. And I really liked the idea after king to g2 of taking this bishop with check. This is something that I've been working on quite a bit recently, which is looking at forcing moves first. And this turned out to be extremely useful in this game, and you will see why. After this, My opponent took the knight on h3. And this is where I thought, okay, obviously the knight is hanging on b5. And if I take this knight, I actually have 2 bishops for the rook, and this must be completely winning. On top of that, this king cannot fall back because of this very strong queen on the long diagonal. So there's no way that white is going to survive this, right? But actually, I barely even looked at this move because of what I just said. This king cannot fall back. And I have 2 extremely strong bishops directly staring at the enemy king. There has to be something here, right? So I spent quite a bit of time. I spent 10 minutes here. And I realized that I should perhaps start with the forcing move here, with the check. And I have e5. Opponent replies with g4 because that is the only move. And obviously, you have probably noticed that the eval bar here says a mate in 7. If you haven't seen this game yet, I strongly encourage you to take a moment and try to find this checkmate. I did find it over the board, and it's something that I am extremely proud of, and I will obviously never forget, and it's really what makes this game immortal. The whole sequence starts with a very tempting move, which is bishop takes g4. A lot of people have asked me, did you see the checkmate from this point on before you made the first sacrifice? And the answer is no. I knew there had to be something there. But I played this move in like 4 minutes. And I am not even kidding. I could not help myself from making this move. I was fully aware that I did not have a full line calculated in my mind. After bishop take g4, I had noticed that the king cannot take because then we have this very beautiful checkmate. King f5, we have g6 check. King takes e5 is the only move, and here we have bishop to g5 checkmate. I had seen this checkmate. I was fully aware that the king could not take the bishop. But obviously there is king to g3, and the game isn't over yet. Here I had seen 2 moves. Bishop h4 and queen to e4. So I'm being very honest, I played this move without knowing the full line yet. I physically could not help myself from grabbing that bishop and sacrificing it on g4. I just couldn't. I had to go for it. I did not care that this knight was hanging. I mean, there is no way that I'm not playing this move. It's just so good, and it was screaming, and I just went for it. King to g3, and this is where I spent about 10 minutes on trying to find out how to continue. I did look at this move quite a bit. As you can see, the engine dropped quite a lot because there is f3, which I saw, and I realized that even after this and this, it's going to be difficult to continue the attack because it feels like this king has found quite a few hiding squares. After looking at that, I kept looking at bishop to h4. Bishop h4. And obviously, I saw that if king takes, I have a very strong move. Queen to g2 still. Queen to g2 is unstoppable mate because I'm going to give a check on h3 next, and you cannot stop it because of this hero pawn on c4, which is stopping the queen from defending that square. So obviously, after this, I have check, and this is a checkmate. But what happens if instead of taking this bishop, the king takes the bishop on g4, which is also what happened in the game? And I was very proud to find the only move, queen g2 still. This is given a great move symbol, which I don't agree with. This should definitely be a brilliant, because you can see this bishop on h4 is still hanging, and it was captured. Oh, that's not brilliant. And it was captured. But from this point on is a mate in 4, which I found. Queen h2, king g4, a very, very precise move here. F5, which cannot be taken because this is a mate in 1. So instead, opponent went to g5, queen f4, king h5, and here I played queen g4 checkmate. I already know, you do not need to tell me. I am fully aware that I had a pawn checkmate here. But in the moment, I wasn't. I was so nervous. I cannot put it into words how nervous I was. I just wanted the game to be over. I just wanted to get up from the board, walk around, celebrate, see the chat's reaction. Like, I just wanted it to be over. I did not even consider for a second delivering the pawn checkmate. I know it's a shame, but it doesn't really matter because this was my immortal game. So I sacrificed a ton of material. Actually, if you look at the board right now, you can see that my opponent has 2 rooks, a queen, and a knight. I only have a queen and a rook, and the king. The poor king on h5 is completely cornered. I don't know how to describe the feeling of finding something like this over the board. I am extremely proud of this game, and it gave me so much energy for the rest of the tournament. I ended up scoring a 5 out of 9 in the whole tournament and gaining over 100 rating points. The games were not perfect. There's a lot to improve, as I said also during this video, but the main goal I had for this tournament was to have fun, to be less nervous and have fun, enjoy the games. And I was having fun in this game, but I was also extremely nervous because I knew I had the opportunity to do something great here and I didn't want to waste it. So it was really a mix of feelings where I'm super excited because, oh my goodness, there's something here, there's something here, there's something here, but also this pressure I was putting on myself, this fear of not finding the correct moves and letting the king escape. It was crazy, but I'm really happy that it happened. And I will never ever shut up about this game. You have already seen a lot of content about this game from me and from other people, and you will still see it. And I mean, how cool would it be that every single tournament I have a game like this? I mean, is that asking for too much? Technically, you know, in the first tournament I played in Portugal, I also played a very interesting game in the first round, which I also talked about a lot and also had 2 brilliant moves in there. So, hey, it's nice every now and then to be able to produce something like this. It was extremely exciting to see everyone's reactions. I looked back at the covered stream so many times. It gave me so much energy, so much confidence, and just so much reassurance about, you know, this is what I play chess for at the end of the day, you know, this is why I am pushing myself to practice every day and practice this aggressive mindset, this attacking mindset that can potentially lead to immortal games such as this one. And this is something that my coach Andras says all the time, you know. Who knows, if you go for these aggressive ideas, these ambitious ideas, you might end up playing your immortal game. He says that all the time, and I am over the moon that that sort of prophecy came true for me in this tournament. Thank you to everyone who supported me during the tournament and during my preparation for it, and basically at all times. And I hope you enjoyed this recap. I'm not very used to doing recap videos. I actually recorded this about like 10 times. And I'm still not going to be very happy about it, but I just need to post it. And I promise to make more recap videos like this, and hopefully I'll have even more fun games to show you than this one. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about the game down below in the comments, and I'll see you around for a lot more videos of my chess improvement journey. Have a good one. Bye bye.
I'll say yet. Oh, it's on the board. It's on the board. Bishop takes g4 with a brilliant move. Oi, 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 oi. Damn. Look at Alex go. Look at her go. What a move. What a move. She's just at the board, but not sitting. There it is, there it is. Bishop h4, another brilliant. Oi, oi, oi. What a move. Damn. That is something else. She chooses queen g4. It's not the pawn mate. She doesn't choose the pawn mate. Maybe Andras can give her some feedback on that, but I think big round of applause for Alex. That was impressive chess by Alex. I will have to say. Wouldn't want to face her if she's playing like that, you know? Look at her. She's really happy, I think.